Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of a double-header night of action. It's the Infineon 200 at the Lowe Motor Speedway, now known as Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are back with NASCAR 05 here tonight, as this is going to be another edition, as well as the Craftsman Truck Series are ready to take the racetrack once again. Coming off a race at Red Bull Raceway, in which Carl Edwards got his first win of the season and jumped from 8th to 2nd in the point standing. Still early going into the year. This is only the 5th race of the season here tonight. 200 miles set on tap and 136 laps along the way. So we're going to hop on into this one and see who will get the win at the end of this race. Will we go for a 5th different winner in the first 5 races of the year, or will we see our first repeat winner? We'll find out here within the next 90 minutes. R6, welcome to the stream. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Lowe Motor Speedway. Look at the jump on the start for Carl Edwards to the outside, 3 wide, and he already gets into the wall. Before they even get into turn 1, as he tried to go for the lead right away. And look at all the ground he lost immediately after that. Tony Lassiter, welcome to the stream as well. Little contact with Brandon Witt down on the bottom of the track. Oh, check up off turn 4. Car in the wall. Multiple contact all the way around. How did they make it through there? Caution behind as there's a big wreck on the front stretch on lap 2. The entire field just kind of checked up. And by the time they got stacked up back there, the 139 ends up in the side of the 38 truck of Brandon Witt. Couple other trucks pile in from behind in an early lap 2 caution tonight at Charlotte. I don't know what happened at the front of the field, but somebody stacked up when they were 3 wide for the lead off of turn 4. And that did not end well in the middle of the pack. Tony Lassiter, welcome to the stream as well. We are getting very close to 800 subs, indeed. We were at 784 yesterday, and then for some reason it's back to 780 again. So I don't know how that happened, but one way or another, we are still close. Hopefully we can get there by the end of the week. Green flag back in the air. After that early caution, we had 4 total in our race earlier today at Red Bull Raceway, though that was a short track. Already a big accident the early going of tonight's race. The second race of this doubleheader stream. Kickstart my crew, welcome to the stream. This is being ran on my PlayStation 2, indeed. Side by side, that opens the door up for Carl Edwards to get to the inside of the 108 truck, and he'll make the pass for 4th place right back to where Edwards started. Carl Edwards went into tonight with no wins through the first 3 races of the season. He's got 1 already in the first race of a doubleheader tonight. Could you imagine if he wins them both? Oh, and a huge block! Sending Edwards into the grass, and the 108 just shot in between the 2 trucks to take back over for the 3rd position. What happened there? Bill Lester, meanwhile, leads this race after starting on the pole for the first time this season for himself. He tries to go for his 2nd win in a 4-race stretch. What a crazy start to the 2nd race here tonight. There's a lot more mellow start to Red Bull earlier today. That was a really bad block getting into turn 3 by that fantasy driver that wasn't 3rd. And a great job by the 108 truck of just splitting the 2 trucks that were sideways off turn 4 right up the middle through the smoke days of thunder action going on under the lights at Lowe Motor Speedway. And that has pulled the top 2 of Bill Lester and Travis Quaffle out to a pretty decent lead. Edwards again trying to get around the 108, but this time there isn't anybody in front of those 2 that are going to hold him up enough to where the 108 truck's going to get him back. Great drive off the exit of turn 2, though, by the 108. Continues to try and hold the high side. Edwards does hold the bottom in time and pulls clear off of turn 4. He's got the spot. We did run on a mile and a half at Atlanta earlier this year. That was the race that Bill Lester won. So coincidentally, him starting on the pole early on tonight. And the guy who is running second right now, Travis Quaffle, also finished second in that race. Edwards finished third. He's running third in the early going of this race. So the finish that we had on the only mile and a half we've ran so far this year at Atlanta is the same top three in that same order that what we have here on lap 12. That's Charlotte tonight. Edwards only led 6 laps in that race. It was similar in length. It was 200 miles, but it was 130 laps versus this one 6 laps longer. They're still roughly both similar D-shaped quad ovals. And again, a mile and a half in length for both. Practice and qualifying, Edwards seemed like he found the right setup for today's race. Qualified 4th. Amazing how quickly those top two pulled ahead, but a lot of it was the contact in the battle for third between Edwards and that fantasy driver. Definitely cost them a little bit of time, and Edwards has only gained maybe a tenth of a second in about a 3-lap stretch, so very, very minimal gains. He's going to need those top two to start racing with each other if he's going to want a chance. But with most of the schedule, really for all 3 series being mile and a halves in this day and age of NASCAR in the 2004 season, that even goes for the truck series, and it's a much shorter schedule. So you wonder if Bill Lester and Travis Quaffle are going to be the guys to beat more often than not this season. Quaffle has not won a race yet this year, and after blowing an engine at Red Bull earlier today, while probably looking like he had about the second fastest truck, it was running 4th at the time of him blowing the engine just past the halfway mark earlier. What a tough break that was for him. Dropping himself from 2nd back to 7th in the point standings alone, and Edwards with that win went from 8th to 2nd. Bill Lester still the points leader. He's got a 30-point lead over Carl Edwards, and Lester has already led the first 15 laps tonight. Yeah, I think when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll start having some of you guys, a lot of the longtime watchers, listeners of the channel, as some moderators for these live streams. We just don't get enough people in the chat now that it's not like I can't, do it myself. As far as like if I have to kick somebody out or, mute user or anything like that, but as we start to get, more subscribers and more people watching, it will become harder. We were about at that pace. I mean, I remember middle of the summer when NASCAR Heat 5 came out, that was our boom period. We were getting for about 2 months straight 20 to 30, almost 40 people watching every stream. And that's kind of died off once we got into the off season for NASCAR. And I was hoping by the start of the season it would come back, and it has slowly come back, but I think the saving grace is going to be when the new NASCAR game comes out. It'll be just like Heat 5, or we'll probably have that boom period for a couple months again, so I'm excited for that this summer. There'd be a very good chance he'd be one R6. We did try to use moderators one other time before. When we were in that boom period there in the middle of the late summer there for about 2 to 3 months, we were getting all those people watching, and then we were having people in the chat upset because they weren't moderators, so I'm not entirely sure who I'm going to have as moderators, but it's probably going to have to be on like an age discrepancy thing, so that way I know the trustworthiness of some of you guys, because there were some people getting upset about it because they had been listening just as long, and that shouldn't have happened. I was kind of upset about that. That's probably the only time I think I've been upset at the chat ever on the channel was that night. So anybody who I gave the moderator spot to, the 2 or 3 people I did, I had to take it away. So I don't even know if you guys remember that stream, but yeah, it was at one point. It was in the middle of the summer again. It was when we had That was the worst thing too. Is that was in our boom period on the channel where we were getting all these people watching, and then something like that happened. It was out of my control. I mean, for the most part, it was out of my control. So that really sucked. And that's why we haven't had it since. But if we do end up getting more people watching again, then yeah, it's we're gonna have to figure out some way around that. We had like 25 likes about every stream, and then it died out. Yeah. I mean, I think the record was like 33 or something like that at one point. The most people we've ever had watching a stream at one point was 39. Now, we did have 30 people watching one of the streams a couple weeks ago. So, again, once NASCAR started back up again, we were slowly getting back to that. It's just not as consistent as what it was during the course of last season. Well, it's not going to be titled as NASCAR Heat, but they're going to have a NASCAR video game. It's probably going to be like NASCAR 21 or NASCAR 2021, something like that, as far as the title goes. It's just not going to be labeled NASCAR Heat. So these top three race trucks are starting to split apart from each other. Bill Lester is pulling away from Travis Quaffle. Edwards is reeling in Quaffle himself for second place, but he's still about 1.4 off the lead. He gained about a tenth of a second in a 3-lap stretch once Edwards got to third place about 10 laps ago. That has really stalled out. He has not gained anything else and has been very even with the race leader, Bill Lester. Lester having that clean air, that clean traffic ahead of him has to be helping as well. We do have 10 likes already in this one, for this stream, so yeah. Hit that like button if you're watching right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. Again, maybe you'll be the 800 subscriber. I really do think we're going to hit it next weekend. If we don't hit it during the week, I think we'll get to 800 by next weekend. It seems like every day we get about 2 or 3 subscribers. And we'll be live streaming the Cup race again next week on Sunday, and I think that'll probably be the day we'll end up hitting it if I have to guess. I think so too, but I don't really, outside of finishing up the career mode, I don't want to do another season with Heat 5 because we've already done 2 for each series. And it took us about 8 months, about 8 months since the game came out. We just finished it a few weeks ago. I'm not saying I'm burnt out with Heat 5, but I was getting to that point where it was like we had done it so much that was about all we did on the channel there as far as the streaming went. So when I started the classic game playthrough, that's why I wanted to do it, was so that way we weren't just constantly doing Heat 5 all the time. I could get another season done before the next NASCAR game comes out, assuming that it's probably going to be at least 3 to 4 months, likely. So we could definitely get another season in, but I really don't want to just keep, doing it more and more and more. Over and over and over again. Sydney Duncan, welcome to the stream. Edwards is starting to close in again. He will have to get around Travis Quaffle when he gets there, of course. That could be a tough pass. He's gained about a tenth to a tenth and a half, roughly, in the last 5 laps on the race leader. He's going to have to get around Quaffle pretty quick to allow Bill Lester to not pull away too much. And obviously, at least when everything was bunched together on that restart, it was hard for Edwards to get around a couple of the trucks initially. So I'm sure Travis Quaffle's not going to make Edwards' life any easier in this battle. Edwards has a run off turn 2, but I don't think he saw that car wobble back and forth. Edwards to the inside of the racetrack off turn 4. He had to get on the brakes, otherwise he was going to slide right into the left rear, and the momentum got broken on both race trucks. So So Edwards was not able to take the lead that time. It's a little more narrow as well in turns 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4. Inside Uranus, welcome to the stream. By the way, again, I am not doing a backflip if we win with Carl Edwards. I did not do one in our doubleheader race number 1 at Red Bull tonight, so. And back to the inside. Again, Quaffle gave up the bottom. That time he didn't get out of shape. Oh, and he just door checks Edwards off turn 2. I didn't think that Quaffle was mad enough to make contact with Edwards like he did. And Edwards looked like he was going to make the pass for second if it wasn't for Quaffle doing that. Hard to share draft on a mile and a half, but Edwards is trying to do that right now, so that way there's no chance that Quaffle's going to take another swing at him. So Edwards is going to be patient. He doesn't want to wreck the race truck early on. That cost him a chance to win at Atlanta. That's actually when these two tangled up together. And I don't know how Quaffle's still upset with Edwards after it, but he is. Edwards almost got tight. Tried to stay in line behind Quaffle. They're losing a little bit of ground to Lester once again. Edwards is playing it smart right now. Again, in line behind Quaffle. That move's going to have to be made in turns 1 and 2. Again, you'd have to think. Off turn 4, he looks. Well, they're back in the neutral, so that's good. Edwards looks low, but Quaffle is down there. Edwards now going to try a high line in turns 1 and 2. That's not going to work either. Cuts to the bottom. Great drive off turn 2. Again, trying to get to the inside of the 24 truck. The Line X paint scheme of Travis Quaffle, and he's not able to do it in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4. Quaffle pushes tight off the X for the corner. Edwards to the inside. Now down the front stretch. These guys are losing time to Bill Lester. Into turn 1. Edwards has the advantage on the bottom. Quaffle does not door check him that time. Clean pass Carl Edwards to a race high second place. Quaffle's starting to get really, really tight. He got tight again off turn 4. So Edwards is trying to break away from him. Edwards won that race earlier today by about 2 seconds. Despite a late charge by Matt Craftsman to cut it to just over a second off the lead at one point, despite being about 4 seconds off the lead in the middle of that run. Lap traffic was definitely getting in the way of Edwards, but Edwards was able to pull back ahead in those final 5 laps just a little bit more and hang on to win. After leading 183 of the 200 laps in that race. Live streaming at 8:30, all right, nice. Wish you good luck. Oh boy. Tell you what, Edwards got around Quaffle, but Quaffle is not going anywhere. He hasn't made a crossover attempt on Edwards, but he is not going away either. Edwards is just trying to get away from him. I'd have to imagine this is going to be a 2 pit stop race today. It could be a 1 stop race, it could be wrong. Likely going to be 2 pit stops. That caution at lap 2. We haven't had one since. Big crash on the front stretch after they were 3 wide for the lead. And then everybody just kind of got stacked up behind him and they ended up crashing a little further back outside the top 10. About halfway down through the quad oval. Mentioned at the very start of the race, Lester might be the guy to beat on the mile and a half anyway. Again, he won at Atlanta. It's the only mile and a half this season. He has led the first 40 laps of tonight's race after starting on the pole. Lester's been absolutely untouchable. Looked like Quaffle was hanging in there for about 20 laps, and then he started falling off the pace. Now he's back to third. Edwards is trying to gain, but he's just not able to really do it. He gets about 1.2 seconds off the lead and stalls out. Then he loses a little bit of ground again. That 22 truck looks really, really fast. Billy Kramer, welcome back. You were in the stream earlier today. The 6 o'clock race. Going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today at lap 43 already, less than 100 to go. These guys are about halfway on fuel. I guess if they do go about 80 laps, it will be a one pit stop race today. I did not think they would go that far. We have seen in the Truck Series how great a fuel mileage they have gotten compared to the Cup and Xfinity, or sorry, not in 2021. The Cup and the Busch Series cars have gotten on this game for whatever reason, except for Red Bull. I don't know if that was just because it was a fantasy track or what it was. These trucks are like trying to drive the 550 package. It's like almost full throttle around these mile and a halves. I noticed that at Atlanta. You have to get out of the gas a little bit more here at Charlotte. It's a little bit tighter, not as wide. The banking's somewhat similar. Might be a little bit more banking at Atlanta. Finally, Edwards has been able to cut that lead under a second. About 9/10 of a second off the race lead. Quaffle again, though, is just not going away. Keeping that pressure on Edwards, where if Edwards makes just a slight mistake, Quaffle could be there to take second place back once again. They start battling again. They'll start losing time. Remember, they fell to about a second and a half off the lead after being 1.2 back earlier when they started battling for a couple laps. Most of that was because Quaffle door checked Edwards. At least Quaffle's back to neutral, so you won't door check Edwards next time they get alongside one another, as long as there's no contact leading to that. That's a bummer. That's right, the PS2 games are compatible for PS3. Edwards a little bit off the bottom, and Quaffle closes to the back bumper. Great little battle for second right now. Edwards made a little mistake off turn 4 as well that keeps Quaffle's pressure on the back of the 99 of Edwards. Bill Lester has lost a little bit of that pace he had for the first 40 laps of the run. Edwards is about 0.6 of a second behind him now. Thing is, if Edwards tries to go for the lead on Lester and he can't get around him the first time and loses enough momentum, Travis Quaffle might be able to get around Edwards and maybe even Lester, depending on how much he has to slow up. And Lester has led the first 48 laps. It'll probably be 50 by the time these guys even catch him, if they do. But they are definitely pacing to catch him now, and Edwards is starting to get looser and looser as this run carries on as well. Especially off turn 2, that car is really wanting to turn a little bit extra. Causing a little bit of a struggle. Yeah, I definitely plan on getting a PS5 before the next NASCAR game comes out. Whatever that'll end up being. Ooh. Another mistake off turn 4 there by Edwards. Car starting to cut a little too much, and now a mistake getting into turn 1. Stagnant, about a half second off the lead. Oh, I don't think Quaffle got in the wall, but he got close to getting in the wall. In front of that race truck just got really tight as he pushed up the track off the exit of turn 4. Yeah, I don't really have any clubs to upgrade. I'm getting my putter regripped on Thursday. Did get a new driver a couple years ago, and I did not like it the first year I had it. Thought about not, like, getting rid of it. I gave it another year, and I fell in love with it last year. What a difference 2 years make. I was adjusting on it, couldn't get the hang of it, and then I didn't even adjust it once last year. It just came right out of the gate, like nothing was wrong with it the year before. Maybe it's just taking those few months off during the winter, I don't know. I've hit the indoor driving range like 6 times this year, but it seems like whenever I'm off of work to go up there, it snows, so I don't go. It didn't snow today, but... or yesterday. I was busy yesterday anyway, but... yeah, about the last 3 or 4 weeks, seems like every day I've been off, so I haven't swung the club in about a month. I'll be a little rusty when I get on the actual course the first couple times. That's kind of a given every year, so it takes about a week for me to get my game back. Well, we got a 3-truck battle for the lead now as Bill Lester is in danger of losing that lead for the first time today as he blocks Edwards all the way to the inside into turn 3. And Travis Quaffle just kind of followed Edwards right on up here. These were the 3 that were battling for that win late at Atlanta. Lester is blocking very aggressively right now. He's going to have to be careful blocking that aggressively. Edwards trying the high line. This is risky, though, because it might give up the bottom for Travis Quaffle to get under him. What a run, though, by Edwards. And again, Lester blocking. Quaffle sitting patiently in third. Ooh, Travis Quaffle almost got underneath Carl Edwards that time. Edwards gains a little bit more on Lester off turn 4. And again, Bill Lester has led every lap so far today. Edwards is so close into turn 1. Crosses over. Faked high, went low on the last second getting into turn 1. He does not clear Lester, though. Lester trying to side draft him down the back straightaway. Into turn 3, contact is made. How did they not wreck with the contact into turn 3? Edwards is clear off turn 4. Even with the contact, I thought that was going to be enough for Lester to hang on. 5 bonus points for Carl Edwards. After Lester leads the first 56 laps of the race. Travis Quaffle back around Lester as well. Lester back to third now as he got stuck on the outside. Yeah, it takes me a good 5 or 6 rounds to like really get a good feel for it. It just feels awkward the first couple times off. I wish I lived where I can golf year round. I wouldn't have that problem. I feel like my game would only be even better too. Not taking any time off. It is what it is, I guess. I do plan on moving down south when I get the money, though. It wasn't bad the last couple winters, and then you have a winter like this winter where it just snows like every week. We get a few inches at least. Like a month ago when we had like 2 feet of snow in a 4-day stretch. Like, no thanks. It's been a few years since we had something like that. I remembered how much I didn't like it. Especially driving to work. Well, now the question is, how is Lester going to get back around Edwards? Edwards raining back down. Lester's not going away, much like when Quaffle got passed for second. He wasn't going away from Edwards, so Lester's trying to keep that pressure on and maybe get back to the lead. Much narrower mile and a half than it landed. Oh, wow, Edwards got really loose into turn 1. You can see how much the rear tires did not hook up there. A huge slide. These guys are about 20 laps away from green flag pit stops if they try to take it as far as they can. That could shake up the running order depending on how fast these guys make their pit stops. Oh, Lester got really loose off turn 4. Barely kept it off the wall, but he had to get out of the gas so much that Quaffle jumps back to second place again. Who will win here today at Lowe's Motor Speedway? Out of the top 3, Quaffle definitely wants the redemption after blowing an engine while having a fast race truck in the last race, especially with the top 2 in points racing right around him. About a quarter of a tank left in Edwards' race truck before he'll have to hit the pits. Again, a one-stop race. Should be scheduled for today as long as we don't get a caution that interferes with that. Again, we had 1 caution on lap 2. That is the only yellow we've had so far in the second race of our doubleheader tonight. Yo Mama, welcome to the stream. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Dover International Raceway right here on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 and right here on the channel in KRC. More Truck Series action at Dover. Quaffle got really tight off turn 4. So we've seen Edwards' truck get a little loose as this run carries on. Quaffle is getting a little tight, and I think Lester, his speed has dropped off, but he is pretty much, for the most part, kept his handling outside of the 2 times he's gotten loose off turn 4 since losing the lead, but that might be because he's back in traffic for the first time. Again, Lester led the first 56 laps before Edwards got around him. So there's a good chance Edwards is going to lead the most laps today unless Carl can dominate the second half of this race. But that's also going to mean his pit crew is going to have to get him out in front. Edwards a little loose off turn 2. Quaffle closes the gap again. Quaffle actually looked a little high, and Lester might get underneath him. Man, I don't know if he couldn't get the race truck to turn. Again, Quaffle's had a problem with getting a little too tight. You can really see how loose Edwards is late in this run. Green flag pit stops did start that last lap for a majority of the field that actually came to pit road, but the top 3 who are all battling for the lead have stayed out so far. So that pit window to make it to the end is probably open. Quaffle to the inside of Edwards. Off of turn 4. Carl barely, and I mean barely, grazes the wall. That's enough for Quaffle to lead at the line. Hang on, this battle isn't done yet, and Edwards gets into the wall into turn 1. He's just way too loose at this point in the run. And now not only loses the lead, but falls back to 3rd. Lap traffic not too far ahead of the leaders, but those are mostly guys that have already pitted. So they're going to be on fresh tires. It's going to be tough for these top 3 to get around them. So Quaffle is now leading his first couple laps of the night. 5 bonus points for himself. This might actually help Lester get the most laps led, knowing that Edwards has led about a dozen laps. Lester looks low, trying to get underneath Quaffle into 3 and 4. Travis has been way too tight in the late going of the run. And no, Lester actually comes to pit road. Lap 70. Bill Lester gonna short pit from 2nd place, leaving Edwards and Quaffle on the racetrack still. Edwards has a run. Quaffle with a block halfway down the backstretch. Travis coming to pit road this time. Yes, he is. So Quaffle comes to pit road a lap after Lester, giving Edwards the lead once again. So now when does Edwards pit? He doesn't want to give up too much time to those other trucks that pitted behind him. We are just past halfway in this race. So probably not a bad idea. I think Edwards should probably come down into the pits this time. So here comes Edwards. So each of the top three pitted 3 separate laps from one another. Great job by Edwards getting to pit road, not speeding. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, and no adjustments for the first and only pit stop of the race. For Carl Edwards, Brandon Witt will now get 5 bonus points. He leads at the line and will take the lead in the course of green flag stops. I think this is Edwards' first green flag stop since that second race of the year at Atlanta. So he won 71 laps. Lester pitted 2 laps before him. And then 1 lap before him is when Travis Quaffle came to pit road. There goes Quaffle. I think Lester is coming up from behind. There he is. So a very fast pit stop by the 24 team. Getting Quaffle out to what will be the eventual lead when everybody cycles through their pit stops. Again, probably not going to see the last of those guys pit until about lap 80 to 85. The 192 truck is now out in front, getting a few bonus points along the way for himself. They might pit before that, but I think they can go to about lap 80 to 85 on fuel. Probably closer to lap 80 if they wanted to stretch it that far, but I think the 192, as well as Brandon Witt, just stay out, get bonus points, come in. Lead that 1 lap. Jack Sprague is now in the lead. He just led that last lap, actually, at the line, so I'm sure Sprague is going to do the same. He led that lap. I'm sure he'll come to pit road this time. So by the 22 and the 24 pitting 1 or 2 laps before Edwards, that is why they cycled ahead of him. But you wonder how Lester, who, although pitted from second place, was right on the back bumper of Quaffle when he hit pit road when Quaffle was in the lead. And that led Bill Lester still to come out behind the 24 of Quaffle despite pitting a lap earlier than him. He thought that was going to be the right move to get to the lead. Either Lester's pit crew was too slow or Quaffle's was too fast, maybe a little bit of both. And for Carl Edwards being 2.5 seconds off the lead now as everybody has cycled through, Travis Quaffle is back out in front at Charlotte. Oh, jeez. Looking at the chat a little too long there. A little mistake off turn 4, and that cost Edwards a little more time. Thanks for leaving a like there, Sydney. There's lap traffic right around the top 2. Lester got around those 2 trucks pretty easily. Edwards is hoping for the same. The 117 is the next truck that Edwards is going to have to pass. Tristan Games, welcome to the stream. Just woke up from a nap. What did you miss? Well, this is our second race of the doubleheader. Earlier today at Red Ball, Carl Edwards got his first win of the season, leading the majority of the laps, dominating the majority of the race. They had 4 cautions total. That kind of shook things up there for a little bit, but Edwards ended up with a 2-second victory over Matt Crafton. We get into race 2 of the doubleheader here tonight, which is right here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, now known as Charlotte. We had a caution on lap 2 for a big stack up in the middle of the pack off of turn 4 is where it really started. And that has been the only caution so far tonight. We just cycled through green flag pit stops about 5 to 10 laps ago. And these guys are good on fuel to the end of the race. Oh, problems! Blown engine, Bill Lester! Oh, what a tough break for the points leader. The points leader running in second place led the first 56 laps of the race. And Lester and his chances of winning are shot leaving just the 24 and the 99 to duke it out. Wow, what a tough break for Bill Lester. You hate to see that be the way in which one of these top competitors goes out. We'll see if Lester could get that car back on the track. He's already a lap down. He might still get the most laps led tonight. I'm not entirely sure, but drama unfolding in the second half of this race. Oh boy. Lab truck back to the inside of Edwards in the 164. Costing Carl about another tenth of a second. So less pressure on Quaffle now with Lester dropping out behind him. Leaving Travis Quaffle to that 2.8 second lead. Travis trying to get his first win of the season. Remember, he actually led the most laps at Atlanta despite not getting the win and finishing second earlier this year. Oh, wow! 119 in the wall off 4, and Edwards barely missed him to the inside. We stay green. Edwards didn't even notice what happened in front of him. It happened so quick. Being under the lights didn't help with it being a black race truck and these graphics, but wow, that was a near miss for the new second place driver. We already saw the first second place driver of Lester blow an engine. Could you imagine if Edwards would have wrecked behind a lap truck? He's trying to get around the 106. And he'll clear him into turn 1. $3 a.m. You mean 3 p.m.? Where do you live, Tristan? You live on the West Coast, or you might have meant PM on that if that's the case. Yeah, because I started 6 o'clock, my time at least, Eastern Standard Time, when we did that first race, and then 7:30 Eastern Standard Time was the start of this race. Edwards is doing all he can to run down Quaffle. It is going to be a tough task unless lap traffic gets in the way of Travis like it is right now. Edwards has actually closed about 0.3 of a second over the last couple laps because Quaffle is dealing with side-by-side lap traffic ahead of him. Edwards is doing all he can. Mark Handel in the 107 is the next truck that Edwards has to get around. Edwards all over the back bumper of Handel. Looks to his inside. He's not going to get around him right there either. Handel is absolutely holding up Carl Edwards. Costing him 1/10 of a second that last lap to Quaffle, and I don't know what Handel is doing right here. It's not like he's already a lap down. This is the second place truck of Edwards trying to get around and not the leader. Finally, he gets underneath him again. Handel side drafting him down the front stretch, really pinching Edwards down. Edwards finally clears him into turn 1 with a clean pass. Yeah, we had 12 people watching in the first race. I'm not sure where everybody went. I mentioned that we were doing a doubleheader last night, but I did mention it during the end of that last stream when we had 12 people watching at the finish, so I don't know where everybody's gone. I think we got up to like maybe 7 in this race, but I'm missing out on some of you guys. mostly is getting blocked by these slower trucks. Desperately to the inside. Off turn 4 on the 131. Sorry, that's the 137. The font on the 7 looked like a 1. That moves to the inside of the 153. Makes a quick pass on him at least. Kevin Quinn in the 105. The next truck. There's another brighter race truck. Edwards is also going to have to get around. Inside off turn 4, underneath the 105 again. Oh, bad block by the lap truck into turn 1, and a hard impact into the outside wall by the 105. Terrible block by a lap truck that shouldn't have even been blocking in the first place. That's about the third lap truck that's tried to block Carl Edwards, but that's the first time anybody's made contact with him. How did they not wreck going into turn 1? Edwards was sideways down on the bottom of the racetrack. He does finally get on by, but he's right back to about 2.8 off the lead. It was about 2.3 before he got to that group of 4 race trucks. That was definitely uncalled for. Is that going to be enough to cost Edwards a chance at the win here? He might need a caution to catch Quaffle the way the lap traffic's been racing Edwards. Yeah, at least Eastern Standard Time, most people typically eat dinner before. It varies for me. Like, if it's on a day I work, sometimes I'll eat before I stream. Sometimes I'll eat when I'm done streaming and then go to bed for work the next day. Like, if I usually work and then stream when I get home but still have to work the next day, then I'll eat before the stream. But if I don't have to work the following day, then I'll get home, I'll just wait to stream and I'll eat when I'm done and then go to bed. It's typically like when I have my dinner time, so it varies. Usually on work days is when I do the truck or the Busch Series races, or if it was, you know, a newer NASCAR game, that's when I do the truck and Xfinity races. My days off are when I do the Cups Series, just because I have more time. Cup Series takes about an extra hour to an hour and a half, so I try to, you know, work around it by scheduling it for a non-work day. There is still time. I mean, we're coming up. Wow, Edwards really loose off turn 2. That's the problem, too, is as this run carries on, Edwards is only going to get looser and looser. We saw that at the end of the first stint. He doesn't have to go quite as many laps to the finish. He went 71 laps to start, which means he'd only have to go about 65 to the finish. 64, roughly, but still cutting it in half. Do I have a long shift time? Yeah, it's not an 8-hour shift. I work 4 days a week, but I work 10-hour shifts. I used to work longer shifts. That was a pain, and that's why I did stream every day still throughout the summer despite being really super tired. Because I was working I was scheduled for 13 and a half hours, but I was working 15. 14 and a half at least, every day I was working. I was working 3 to 4 days a week because they were having us come in on Thursday sometimes for overtime. But so Monday through Wednesday, at least, sometimes Thursday, I was dragging bad. Mondays it wasn't so bad. Tuesdays it was starting to get there, but yeah, Wednesday and Thursday I was beat. But I was still streaming because we were getting a lot of views and the subscriber rate was going up, and that was our boom period, and I wanted to stick with it. And I did. I stuck through it. I was like, all right, if I'm going to keep doing this and keep working on a broadcasting job, hopefully get one at a local racetrack at some time. If not this summer because of COVID, definitely next summer, but I want to get one this summer. The sooner the better, obviously. And the job I was working at, the way they were just working me to death, they didn't care. They didn't care about what my goals were. Trying to become a broadcaster, whether it was a YouTube channel. Even if I didn't have the YouTube channel, I was trying to get a job at a local racetrack, they wouldn't have cared. They would have expected me to be at work Monday morning at 5 a.m. They wouldn't have they wouldn't have cared if I was up late on a Sunday night before I had another job. And, I kind of noticed that, so I was going to leave there anyway, before before I would have started traveling this year at least, and everything like that with racing. I stopped working there around, early November, I think it was. And, fortunately, it wasn't... I was going to try to stay there at least a couple months longer, like I mentioned. And I actually got let go. So I was without a job for about a month to 6 weeks, roughly, until I picked up a job at a temp service for about 3 to 4 weeks. Well, it was about a month. It was 4 weeks I worked there. And then now I'm at the Home Depot distribution, about a half hour from where I live, 35 minutes from where I live. And that's where I'm working now. I've been working there for about 6 weeks. I think this is my 7th week coming up tomorrow. I got to go back, so my weekends are Sunday and Monday. So that's kind of the story of, my work life outside of the channel over the last couple months. It was kind of rough. It was definitely a rough stretch there for about 3-4 months. I've been pretty quiet about it for the most part. I know you guys asked me, what I do, for work outside of here, because obviously I'm not getting paid on YouTube. But so I'd, state what I do, but I was pretty quiet about... I had mentioned, some nights when I was tired, but I'm sure you guys notice a lot more high-strung now than what I was on those Wednesday night streams there for a while, especially. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the problem with working a full-time job is I would like to do more videos on the channel outside of the streaming, to help with, my broadcasting and analysis of NASCAR stuff, but I just don't have the time for it. Because I do want to have a life outside of, both YouTube and work, and that's where I fell in love with golfing, so I got to find something else, to keep myself going, take my mind off of things for a couple hours a day. When I can. But, yeah, it was definitely a rough stretch there, so... Yeah, exactly. Still stuck with it. I mean, there was a stretch in there, I thought about taking a little time off, but especially when I was, really getting tired, the channel was starting to grow, and I didn't want to stop and have it just stall out. And it has stalled out during the off-season, which I kind of expected it was going to be. So if I was still working there, that was probably going to be when I was going to take a break. But at that time, I couldn't take a break. Oh my goodness. Edwards being blocked just about in the grass into turn 1 by the 86 truck. These lap trucks have been absolutely crowding Edwards. That's about the 4th one since these green flag pit stops. It wasn't getting crowded before the stops, but he's getting crowded now. Yeah, if I would have been older and would have had a family, would have had kids, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do what I was doing at all. But when I started the channel, I wasn't working those hours at that job because I started it in February last year. But when COVID hit, they expanded their hours, and then their business went up, and they expected more out of us instead of, keeping it the same, which, I understand working overtime. I have no problem working overtime and putting 50 to 60 hours in a week, but not in 3 or 4 days like I was doing, because that was, if I was working, more than 50 hours, it's typically 4 days, but I'm still putting 40 to 50 hours into 3 days if I was working less than 50, and yeah, the money was nice, and it was nice having the 4 days off in a row, but then after 3-4 months, and then 3-4 months turns into 6, 7, 8 months, it was getting so old so fast. I was just too tired. I've always been a morning person, so me sleeping in past even 8 o'clock, I get mad at myself for it because I feel like I miss out on a lot of stuff. But my days off, I was sleeping in until 9, 10 o'clock, and I was going to bed at 10, 11 o'clock when we got done streaming. I wasn't even staying up late. I was so tired that I would literally fall asleep and not wake up for like 13, 14 hours. It was bad. It was probably bad health-wise for sure. But it's over now. It's in the past. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Yeah, thanks for making it, though. Better late than never. Travis Quaffle, again, still in the lead. We have not had a caution since lap 2. Here's the issue, 26 laps to go at the line that time. It is still a 2.7 second lead. And yes, the lap traffic has kind of held up Edwards. Ooh, a little contact. That's not going to help either. I mean, there's nothing Edwards can do here. He's going to need a caution late. What a heartbreaker it would be for Travis Quaffle if that caution did come out. He's been right about 2.5 to 2.9 seconds off the lead pretty consistently since green flag pit stops ended. And by Quaffle not only having a faster stop than Edwards, not that Edwards' crew made a mistake, because they didn't even make a mistake, but between having just a slightly faster stop than Carl Edwards, and not only the stop, but pitting 1 lap sooner, because Edwards was all over the back bumper of Quaffle when he came onto pit road. But Quaffle was able to gain about 2.5 seconds both on pit road and just pitting 1 lap before, leaving Edwards out there on those 65 to 70 lap older tires. Edwards slides into turn 1 underneath the 191 truck, and now he's 3 seconds off the lead. This lap traffic is just not working with him, and he is losing time every single time Edwards catches a lap truck. But if Quaffle wins this race, and we stay green to the finish and he doesn't have an issue, we're going to have 5 different winners in the first 5 races of the year. What a start to this 2004 Craftsman Truck Series campaign. We'll see if we'll go 6 for 6 tomorrow night at Dover. Oh, jeez. I was looking at the chat a little too much off turn 4. That's only going to cost Edwards even more time. He's already 3 seconds off the lead and wasn't really gaining. He was actually losing time. Now these tires are getting a little older. Now he's right back to about 3, almost 3.5 seconds off the lead. Well, we did see Bill Lester blow an engine while running second, and you wonder if he could have had a shot at getting around Quaffle. Lester probably had the fastest truck in the field tonight. He led 56 laps in this race before losing the lead. Never led a lap after that. Edwards led about a dozen laps. Then Quaffle took the lead, and he's pretty much led ever since, outside of the couple random drivers that were leading during the green flag pit stops. Had about 3 or 4 different leaders during that stretch as well. 20 laps to go this time for Quaffle. It has still been a fun season, though, so far. And this hot streak for Carl Edwards will continue, although it won't be a win. He's only got 1 win in this 4-race stretch. But outside of the 30th place finish at Daytona to start the year, the next 4 races after that, Carl Edwards has finished 3rd or better. Well, we got a blown engine on the inside of the racetrack, and it is one of the lap trucks in the 108. He'll limp his way to pit road, so we'll stay green. 19 to go at the line. Thing is, though, if a caution does come out, not only Edwards is back in it, but so is everybody else that may be behind Edwards. We don't know where the 3rd place truck is. I think these top 2 are quite a ways ahead of everybody else. But no pressure on Quaffle. He needs to just bring this thing home in one piece. But what a bounce-back performance after the first race of our doubleheader today at Red Ball. We saw a blown engine by Quaffle while running 4th and likely had the 2nd fastest truck in that race. R6, welcome back. Lap truck's definitely holding up Carl Edwards right now. Getting into turn 1, he had to get out a little bit more than usual. Now underneath the 110 off turn 2. Edwards has gained a couple tenths of a second. Look at this. I mean, the 110 truck is pinching Edwards down the track, and they make contact into turn 3. That is the 5th time, count it now, 5 times that the lap truck Edwards is trying to pass, either throws a bad block on him or just pinches him off so much that Edwards cannot hold his line. And again, it's not like Edwards is leading when this happens. He is trying to close in on the leader, so these trucks are already a lap down when he catches them. Unbelievable. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. 3.5 second lead now for Quaffle. And Edwards was slightly gaining on him the last couple laps before that. He actually gained about 3 tenths in a 2-lap stretch, which is what he needs. He gained another tenth that last half a lap. Edwards is starting to click away some quick times. We saw Quaffle was getting very tight at the end of the last run, and I wonder if he's starting to get tight once again, which might cause Edwards to close the gap. That time Edwards kind of pushed a little tight, but the 192 still didn't give him a lot of room. What a save by Edwards, though, off turn 4. And now he's 3.7 off the lead. Tell you what, man, these EA games, everybody races the heck out of you. We've mentioned that on NASCAR Thunder 04. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, it's the same thing. And I mean, look at that. Off turn 4, Edwards had a run on the 192, and he just throws a mean and nasty block immediately, cutting the run of Carl Edwards off. Edwards is, although losing ground from the leader, he's got to try to hang on to second. He doesn't want to lose any spots in this lap traffic, although he's not gaining on the leaders. Again, it is costing him time one way or another, and we might see a battle for second before the end of this race. I don't even know what he was doing there. Chris Sweeney is in the 192 truck, by the way. One of the generated rookie drivers. Edwards finally gets around him into turn 1. Sweeney's trying to cross him back over. I mean, they were halfway down the backstretch, and Edwards was holding his line on the front stretch, rather, and he was holding his line on the inside, and Sweeney just door checked him. Not even a rival either. Yeah, almost 4.5 seconds off the lead now, 11 laps to go. We'll see if we get a late race caution. The good news is if we do get a caution, we'll have less than 10 laps to go on a restart, so all the lap trucks will be at the back of the pack behind everybody on the lead lap. Why don't I get NASCAR 2002? I wanted to start with Thunder 04, personally. That's just what I felt like starting off with. That. I mean, Edwards has gained 0.2 of a second each of the last 2 laps, but this lap traffic slowing him up. You just wonder what could have been when he was 2.5 seconds off the lead. It was about 2.4, 2.5 off the lead before the lap traffic started costing him time, and yeah, he fell back to 4.5 seconds, and he's closing in. I mean, the tires might be shot on Quaffle's race truck. That's very well possible. Edwards is right there. Jumps to the bottom. Now this lap truck actually gave him a lot of room. That's the 152. He was actually really fast at Martinsville a couple races ago. Quaffle could be backing off, saving his equipment in case we do get a caution. Now there is a lot of lap traffic in front of Quaffle. There is no more lap trucks in between the top 2 right now. The problem is there is just not enough laps left for Edwards unless we get a caution. We haven't seen a lot of late race yellows though in the Truck Series. In the Busch and Cub Series we've seen some late race cautions, but the Truck Series we have not on this game. It seems like most of the cautions come early. And tonight, again, the only caution we had was on lap 2. We had 4 cautions at Red Ball, but they were all in the first 120 laps of the race out of the 200 laps, so we went over 80 laps green to the finish. Martinsville, we had 1 caution right about halfway through the race. Atlanta is the only race I can think of where we had late race cautions. And we had quite a few of them. I think we had 4 cautions total in that race, so again, not a lot, but I believe we had like 3 in the last 30 laps. Edwards is definitely getting looser as this run carries on. 6 laps to go. Still not a bad run, though, for Carl. He was able to get 5 bonus points one way or another. And a second-place run. Edwards definitely isn't saving anything right now. He's a little too wide in turn 3 that time. 5 laps to go for Travis Quaffle. No pressure on Travis right now as he tries to get his first win of the season and try to claw back into the point standings. Carl Edwards with a second-place run tonight will likely take the points lead. He was 30 points behind Bill Lester, who led the first 56 laps of the race tonight. But remember, Bill Lester blew an engine while running second with just over 40 laps to go. Tough break for him. His day came to an end prematurely. 4 laps left. And Quaffle, what a redemption story for him after blowing an engine in our first race tonight at Red Ball. Late in that race while running fourth and coming back to win. He might lead the most laps along the way. He led a lot of laps in the second half of this race. It's going to be really close on who led more between Quaffle or Lester. Because once Lester lost the lead, he never got it back. But he did lead the first 56 after starting on the pole. .6 off the lead again. He is gaining. He's gained almost 1/10 of a second in the last 10 laps. Or sorry, almost a full second in the last 10 laps, but it's too little too late. Unless something crazy happens. Again, there are no cautions on the last lap in this game, so if there's a wreck ahead of the race leader, these guys are racing back to the checkered flag. Right rear starting to get a little bit more worn, only making the 99 truck a little looser. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go off of turn 4 for Travis Quaffle. Hasn't even really attempted to pass any of the lap trucks ahead of him. I don't blame him. Why risk anything? He's got about a 3.4 second lead. We're going to have 5 different winners in the first 5 races of the Truck Series season. 2 of them tonight. Edwards winning our first race at Red Ball. Checkered flag in the air here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Travis Quaffle gets his first win of the young season. Edwards brings it home in second. 3.4 off the lead at the finish. And quite a ways behind him was the third place race truck. We'll take a look at the finishing results. Look at that. Let's go back. 18 seconds back was Brandon Witt, who finished in third. Back-to-back top 3s for Witt. Bobby Hamilton Sr., back-to-back top 5s for him as well, finishing 4th. Actually, 3 straight if you consider he won at Martinsville 2 races ago. Doug Thompson rounds out the top 5. Aaron McGee finishes 6th. Troy Perry 7th. John Wood 8th. Matt Crafton 9th. And Jack Sprague rounds out the top 10. 65 laps led today by Travis Quaffle. I believe they tied. Because I think Lester led the first 65, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, sorry, yeah, 56. My bad. I forgot. Yeah, 56. So, Travis Quaffle leads the most laps. Max points day for him. Leading 65 laps to Lester's 56. The only DNFs tonight were Wilson, Lester, Watson, Wilder. And that was it. 4 drivers failed to finish tonight's race. And again, only one caution for 3 caution laps, and that was way back at lap 2. So we had over 130 lap green flag run to the finish in this Truck Series race at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick look at the point standings as we have just wrapped up our 5th race of the season. Again, Carl Edwards should be the new points leader, but we'll see how far back Bill Lester dropped after coming in with a 30-point lead over Edwards. And this is Carl Edwards' first points lead of the young season. And he has earned it with 4 straight top 3 finishes now. A 3rd at Atlanta, a 2nd at Martinsville, a win at Red Bull earlier today, and now this race finishing 2nd again at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. After a rough start to the year, finishing a lap down in 30th at Daytona, losing the draft in that race. Oh, that's calendar. 2 pole awards on the year for Edwards as well. Yeah, pretty narrowly ahead of Quaffle. Still early in the season. The points are going to be tight for about the next couple races yet, as Carl Edwards has a 25-point lead over Quaffle. Brandon Witt, who again has scored back-to-back top 5s. And Bobby Hamilton Sr. has a win in the last 3 races with 3 top 5s to show for as well. So that's why he's 4th in points. Bill Lester falls from the points lead back to 5th. He's 82 back. But again, he could score as much as 190 points with a max points day. Again, 180 for the win in 2004. And then if you lead the most laps, that's 10 bonus points as well. Aaron McGee 6th, Ace Johnson 7th, Ryan Carter 8th, Troy Perry 9th, and Casey Cook, who won the season opener at Daytona, is 10th in points right now. Actually tied for 9th with Troy Perry. So and those are the top 10 in points. Yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight for both races, really. Greatly appreciated it and enjoyed, as always. Hopefully you guys did the same. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll be back at it tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be running at the Dover International Raceway on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 for this Truck Series season once again. So hope to see you guys then. 200 miles and 200 laps of action for that one on tap. Thanks for everybody watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 8. Have a good rest of your night, and enjoy your early Tuesday as well.